Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk about something that has irked me personally for quite some time regarding Zenimax Online Studios. So this game has been out for 3 years now, and if you guys don't know, I've been playing this game since release, and I've been making content for it shortly after the game came out. I started making all the content that I could for it. So this video is all about patch notes, guys. I am personally tired, and it's not just me, it's a lot of other veteran, longtime ESO players. We're very, very tired of this game, specifically the development company Zenimax Online Studios, pushing out time and time again bad patch after bad patch. Now, it wouldn't be such a big issue if just the changes that they added weren't that great. But the problem is that this game has a lot of bugs in it too, especially around PvP. And I love PvP. That's what keeps me playing ESO. But it's just, there's so many issues with it, and they will continue to release new content with new classes, etc., new abilities, all this crap, but they don't fix the existing bugs that are causing the big root major issues in this game. So, we're going to talk a little bit about these recent patch notes and why I'm so appalled by some of the things that they've done here. So I think the first thing that we're going to address here is major mending. I mean, this is something that not just me, but the entire community, I think, is they're a little bit taken aback by this change. So if you didn't know, here's what they've done with major mending. For Dragon Knight, they've made it so that your Igneous Shield will only provide major mending as long as the shield is up. So essentially, Dragon Knight no longer has access to major mending while they are in any kind of combat where they're getting attacked by anything. The Igneous Shield is really small. The only way I can see this shield being a useful form of major mending anymore is in a very high max health DK, making that shield scale off of their max health, giving everyone like a 5k to 6k damage shield. Otherwise, this buff is completely ruined now. I mean, I can't see this ability being useful for a Stam or Magicka DK in PvP anymore. For PvE, I can see it kind of being helpful, but when you need the major mending on the guys that are dying, the shield is going to be ripped off, and they are not going to get the major mending that they need. So, like I said, they completely gutted major mending out of DK. It is incredibly unreliable to the point where I would not recommend even bothering with this ability unless you're running a support build. Now let's look at Templar. What did they do with major mending on Templar? They took it away. They didn't just get rid of our uptime on it. They just took it away. Major mending's gone. Templar, the healing class, the one class in the game that people pick when they decide I want to be a healer, does not get major mending. I mean, I'm not even sure what to say. I'm not even sure what to say about this. It is such a punch to the teeth. They've replaced major mending now with minor mending instead of major. I mean, I'm sorry. Here we go. Major mending to minor mending. Major mending gives you a healing percent bonus of 25%. Minor mending is 8%. That is a flat 17% nerf to your healing power for a Stamina Templar. Now, Magicka Templar is not going to take it so hard because they get a 2%. Thank God they gave them 2% bonus healing off of our Restoring Light passive, but that is going to still mean 15% reduced healing for a Templar. So they pretty much turned the healing class into something else. I'm not really sure what you're supposed to do with Templar anymore now that it is no longer a viable healing option. Now let's finally talk about the third component of this. We talked about DK and we talked about Templar with major mending. Warden. Warden also has major mending. So here's my argument to that. DK's major mending is now useless unless you're on a support build that gives a very, very large Igneous Shield. So Templar has been taken out of the equation entirely. They don't have major mending anymore. So in my opinion, a Templar healer has been turned into absolute shite and will be well overshadowed by a Warden healer. And then finally, guys, we have Warden. So Warden gets major mending. If they drop below 40% HP and they heal themselves with a green balance ability, they will get major mending for 3 seconds. Now, that's not a long time on 3 seconds, but let's talk about how major mending works on the Warden. When you need powerful healing, you will get it on the Warden. When you need powerful healing on your Dragon Knight, you will not get it. You will not get major mending. When you need powerful healing on your Templar, you may as well just re-roll Warden because you no longer have major mending. I'm sorry. I mean, every class has something that makes it powerful and unique. Templar and DK are slow. They need major mending. This is one of the biggest passives for those classes. This is one of the biggest things that makes them function the way that they do, especially Templar. Oh my gosh. Why even bother? Seriously, everyone who's playing a Templar, just re-roll Warden. There is no point in continuing to play Templar after this patch. So, there you have it, major mending. Let's move on to the next bit. So as you can see, a lot of different classes in this coming Morrowind patch are taking huge nerfs to their sustain. There is a massive nerf to sustain across the board. We see that the armor, light armor, medium armor, and heavy armor are all taking sustain nerfs across the board as well, especially in cost reduction. So there you have it. Big sustain nerfs across this whole patch. Like I said, guys, that was kind of the aim of this patch, and I understand that. I do think that that is a better direction to go in than the kind of infinite sustain route that Zenimax has been going in the past. So, but here's where they really messed that up. They've gone and they've homogenized some abilities into just... they just homogenized them into abilities that function the same regardless of your build. And as far as I'm concerned, that's nothing but taking away from buildcraft in this game. Let's take a look at an ability like Repentance. This morph now restores health and stamina based on your character level instead of your max resource. So, this statement here, what does that mean? Dear players of ESO, we at Zenimax Studios have given up on trying to balance this game properly and decided to put a flat balance cap in so we no longer have to worry about balance. I'm sorry, this is lazy. This is very, very lazy. Repentance was a unique skill that scaled off of your max stat, just like very many other unique skills that scale off of max stat in this game, and just a few of them were picked randomly and nerfed this patch into the ground. On top of it, Repentance will only restore stamina to the casting Templar, but it will not restore stamina to the allies. It'll still heal everybody. So yeah, Repentance has been turned into a pretty garbage skill. I play with 40k stamina on my Templar, so this is a 25% nerf to my Repentance. And I promise you, I'm not the only Templar that's sitting at 40k stamina on my build. So yeah, this is a massive nerf to our sustain here. So let's look at some of these other kind of like really lazy buildcraft removing blanket changes that Zenimax seems to have thrown in this patch to, I guess, promote diversity? I'm not even sure. In all honesty, from reading these patch notes, I predict that the game meta will shift to a tankier meta with less damage and more sustain than we had before. We'll see longer fights than we did in the previous patch with more tanks, more people sitting there and not dying. So there you have it, guys. That's the route we're going with this game. Battle Roar. I mean, if you guys are a DK, you know how much of a huge fucking nerf this is. Most DKs have around 26k or more health, in PvP at least, so this will have no effect on your healing. Most DK's primary stat is well above 26,000. Please, oh lord, please, show me a DK build that uses a primary stat that only has 26,000 in that stat from the past year. I mean, does that even exist? Does anyone actually... Maybe someone who's CP 10 will have 26,000 magicka. Maybe someone who just started their first character will have 26,000 magicka. But this is a joke. This is such a big nerf to DK sustain in full regards to it. Next thing that happened, Helping Hands. This has been nerfed so hard as well. A big thing about DK sustain coming in here, your max stam at 19,800. So I'm going to reiterate this again with the same point that I made before. If you're playing a Magicka Dragon Knight, you likely have 16,000 plus maximum stamina. If you are playing a Stamina Dragon Knight, you likely have 35,000 to 40,000 on average maximum stamina. This is a huge nerf. This nerfs the Helping Hands passive by 50% for most stamina builds. I mean, I'm not even sure what to say. There are so few DKs that have a stamina pool lower than 19k as a Magicka spec anyway that this has little to no effect on them at all. So this is just a massive nerf to DK sustain here again. And, you know, I get, like I said, I get that that's what they want to do with this patch, but this is way too rough. You're making DK basically unplayable. You're taking away everything that makes DK powerful, and you're turning it into slightly better than a Templar. And then finally, guys, we have Knightblade, which took a massive nerf to their sustain as well. these values here that these resources are returning, I mean, compared to the siphoning strikes that Knightblade has right now, you can expect this to be a 50 to 75% decrease in the amount of sustain you get from your siphoning ability. It's now changed so you only get one resource and max health. You don't have the option to do both resources, which is a huge cut to Knightblade sustain. That really hurts a lot of Knightblade builds that relied on siphoning to keep themselves alive, especially in PvP. Having the return of both pools is very important for a Knightblade. So this is just a huge nerf to Knightblade sustain. So let's talk about it from a one-sided point of view. If you were to use the current siphoning strikes and you were attacking an opponent with stamina-based abilities and you're looking at returning that maximum stamina, not only will you now no longer return the same amount, so think about that as the double nerf there, that you're no longer returning both resources. So that's a 50% cut in your sustain as a Knightblade right off the bat. Now on top of it, the amount returned is only based off of your light and heavy attacks, and it's lower than it is on the live game right now. So it's an even bigger nerf in that regard. And then finally, the last kind of like little sneaky shadow nerf to this ability is that in siphoning strikes on live right now, you have a 10% chance off of any attack to return resources to your character. That has been completely removed from this ability. So there you have it, guys. They've turned siphoning into a sustain ability that you're honestly better off almost not slotting anymore. And then finally, guys, to take the cake, and this is probably the best thing about these patch notes right now, because it is widely regarded in this patch right now that Magicka Sorcerer is at the top rung of Magicka classes. Look at these Sorcerer changes. Dark Exchange. This ability will now, and its morphs will now have a 0.2 seconds of animation blending time at the end of their cast. So what this means is there's going to be a little bit of a delay on your Dark Exchange spamming. Literally no Sorc nerfs. Sorc is the most powerful class in the freaking game right now, and they didn't nerf it at all for this coming patch. Nothing. Nothing at all. No Sorc sustain nerfs, nothing. A Gut Templar, take away our Major Mending. Gut DK, take away Major Mending. I mean, this coming patch, guys, you either play Sorc, Warden, or Knightblade. Knightblade's a bad choice. So there you have it, guys. This is my review of these patch notes. I am very unhappy by a lot of the changes made in these set of notes, as well as a lot of the changes made in past patch notes, guys. In all honesty, most of the time when I read a new set of patch notes, I'm just sitting there thinking, does Zenimax even play their own game? So, guys, crit rushing into loading screens and getting lagged out in PvP, getting stuck in keep walls, stuck sliding down a hill, getting stuck in game terrain. And of course, we see no mention of those in the patch notes, and no mention of coming fixes for those problems in the patch notes. As always, PvP players get in the bottom of the rung. And of course, guys, this is not the first time that we've seen patch notes like this. I mean, I'm at the point now where I'm just saying to Zenimax, please, please, please listen to your players on this patch note. Please listen to what we have to say. Don't keep making changes like this. It is a big red flag when some of your top YouTubers and streamers of ESO leave the game due to a bad set of patch notes. I mean, you are seriously killing your audience by doing this, Zenimax. This is such a great game. It has such great potential. The PvP in this game could be bar none. But you have to listen to your players. You have to listen to what we're telling you. And you have to try harder. Oh my gosh. As always, guys, thank you for tuning in. And I hope to see you next time.